How's it going tonight, friends? It's your boy Farley here, and tonight I want to talk about band mascots. So, through the years, numerous bands have kind of created mascots, and one of the things about mascots is it can help establish a band's identity and also help kind of to brand the band. You'll see a lot of mascots appear on album covers or t-shirts or even live action versions in concert. And those mascots really help define the band, and also especially a well-designed mascot can be printed on album covers and t-shirts and can help a band make tons of money off merchandising. So I was thinking today about my favorite mascots, and of course most of mine are going to be either punk or metal, but there's other bands and artists over the years that have used mascots as well. Some of the earliest versions I can remember would be the Grateful Dead, but it's a really good tool for a band. You start seeing, it's one thing if you see a band's name a lot, but if you see that mascot, it really helps you identify that with that band, and really kind of piques our curiosity. This is a pretty cool logo. Let me go check out this band. But at the end of the day, you also got to have the music to back up the mascot. So you may have a cool mascot, and people may see that and want to explore your music, but if your music blows, no mascot's going to help that. So I'm going to show my 5 favorite mascots. Of course, most of mine are in metal or punk. But I would love to see your 5 favorite mascots from any musical genre. It can be singular artists. It doesn't always have to be something that appears on an album cover. For instance, Not Man for Anthrax appears on the back covers of some albums. But mostly, Not Man is a merchandising tool that they use, t-shirts and posters and things like that. So it doesn't always have to be something that's always on the album cover. And a lot of bands may use the mascot early on and then may try to kind of get away from it and then kind of come back to it. So you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. So I'm going to start my list, and like I said, I would love to see yours. So let's get started. So coming in at number 5 is the Misfits, Fiend, the Fiend skull. And this is another one where he doesn't really appear on a whole lot of album covers. He first appeared in 1979, I believe, in the Horror Business 7-inch, and was based on the an old movie called The Crimson Ghost. And but there is not, even though he's not on a lot of the album covers, he's featured, usually on the back when it talks about the Fiend Club. And I'm trying to see if it's on this one. And he doesn't even appear at all on Static Age, at least my version of Static Age, so front or back. But you see that skull, and you immediately, if you know punk music, you immediately know, oh, that's the Misfits. And sometimes you don't have to just overkill it by putting your mascot on everything for it to kind of become synonymous with the band. So, but the Misfits, the Fiend, comes in at number 5. And then coming in at number 4 is Overkill with their mascot Chaille. Now, Chaille, you can't really tell in this one, is a winged skeletal bat. And he does not appear on all album covers, but he does appear on quite a few. And here you have Horoscope. And look at that. Just an evil-looking bat thing. You know what I'm saying? And he's not always, he doesn't always appear to be like evil, but he does a lot. And here's an example where he doesn't have to always appear on the front. So you've got Overkill's second album, Taken Over, doesn't appear on it. He does appear on the back, but if you think about it, like the band's starting out, which cover really is going to draw you in more? You've got, well, you've got this one, the cover for Horoscope with Chaley. And then look at this. It's the band. I don't know what they're doing. Pointing guns like they're, you know, playing Contra in real life. But if you take these two, give me this one. Oh, sorry. I always forget the camera reverses. Give me this one. This is going to draw me in a lot more than the band just kind of looking kind of goofy. Great album. Goofy cover. Be much more awesome if that was the front cover, in my opinion. And then look at this one for Under the Influence. Uh-oh. You okay? Pup-Pup's coughing in my lap. So look at that. Their best album, in my opinion, The Years of Decay. Look how awesome that cover is. That definitely draws me in more than just like a band cover shot, you know? And then look at this one. This one's actually my favorite. Not favorite album, but favorite version of Chaley. This is Under the Influence. Got some kid crawling through the sewer. And you got Chaley scanning the ground looking for him. You see that album, man. Number one, that's so metal. You know what I mean? And then two, you see that cover. If you don't know Overkill, you see that cover, you're like, man, I like metal. That's metal. That's a cool. I'm going to get this and see what it sounds like. Especially back in the day before the internet. You really bought a lot of albums blindly. And one of the things back in, you know, the 80s when we were buying metal, one of the things that if we didn't know much about a band, if they had a cool cover, it would draw us in. Now, you would get some losers sometimes, but for the most part, you get an album like this, Under the Influence. Not their best album, but a really, really good album. And like I say, that cover would really have drawn me in back in the day. So, all right. So, that was 4 coming in at number 3. Sorry. We have Vic Rattlehead. So, everybody knows, if all you metalheads anyway, know Vic Rattlehead. Do you all know the story of why he's the mascot, kind of? You know, besides looking cool, he actually represents see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. So, if you'll notice, he's got the metal things covering his eyes and his ears, and also his mouth. So I always thought that was a pretty cool concept. And his name, Vic, Dave used Vic shortened for victim, and then Rattlehead is what his mom would say when he would headbang when he was young. She'd say he's going to rattle his head. So that's how he came up with Vic Rattlehead. So used on many early Megadeth albums, and then I think from 91 to 2000 they didn't use him, but he is back. And this is the newest album, which features him in a more kind of updated, modern take. But that's my favorite. That's my favorite album cover with him. And then you look at this one. I always associated that with like metal in the 80s, but like the threat of nuclear war. Like, I don't know. I always thought that would be what kind of we would all be looking like after. So, but anyway, so used a lot early on. They kind of got away from him for a number of years, and then bam, he came back on. Which album did he come back on? I know they had a contest for it. Was it United Abominations? I can't remember that. But, like I say, from 91 to 2000, he didn't appear at all. Alright, so, now, coming in at number 2. Can you guess the number one? is Jack O' Lantern. Now, Jack-o'-lantern is the pumpkin mascot of the band Halloween. And you will see he doesn't always have to appear prominently on the album covers, but he is part of their band logo. So you'll see the O in Halloween. That's Jack. Here's a really, really goofy version on the back of Walls of Jericho. He looks more like a gourd. But the band will pose with pictures with Jack, and he is used a lot on their t-shirts as well as concert posters. But he doesn't always have to be featured on the album itself, the cover, like I said, except for in the O in Halloween. But when he is featured, he's up front and center, and I just think he's, and I know it's a simple pumpkin man, but for some reason, I've always dug Jack. So I just think he's cool. So, alright, so that brings us to number one. Before I get to number one, I did want to make an honorable mention. Snaggletooth, or Warpig, whatever you want to call him. Used a lot in Motorhead album covers and merchandising. I think he's cool, and I think the story that I read before about it, Lemmy wanted something that looked cool, like I think he said he saw some motorcycle gang groups, whatever you want to call them, their patches. So he wanted something cool like that that would look cool as a patch, and so he had an artist design that. And before Lemmy died, there was a contract dispute or something with the artist. I forget his name. So he did their art for like 31 years and came up with Snaggletooth or Warpig, and no longer designs anything. Of course, the band's gone, but anyway. All right, so that's my honorable mention. Now to number one. There is no doubt about the number one. In my opinion, there is no doubt about the number one mascot of all time, Eddie from Iron Maiden. I don't know, mascot is as well traveled. We've seen Eddie in Egypt. We've seen him in space. We've seen him flying planes. So whether it's albums or singles or EPs or live or anything, you're going to find Eddie somewhere. He is one of the mascots that's heavily featured on everything the band puts out, pretty much. There's always a live action version of him in concert. The album's going to feature Eddie, and it's just some of the most awesome artwork you'll ever see. This, of course, Live After Death. And then I'm just going to show two or three. And then you have Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. And then even on the back, you can kind of see him coming. And then my personal favorite, Somewhere in Time. So, but yeah. Eddie's been going at it for, what, 40-something years. And like I said before, well-traveled. It's kind of seen the world. So, anyway, really, really dig Eddie and all the other mascots shown. I would love to see what you guys and gals can come up with for your favorite mascots. And like I say, it doesn't have to be something that's always on the album. It could be something used in merchandising. It could be something used in concerts, or even like you saw with Halloween, maybe featured in the band logo. There's a character, so anything like that. So, and you could show, of course, any format. But I would love to see cassettes, CDs, 8-tracks, vinyl, whatever you have. I'd love to see what you got. So, thanks for watching. Take care, and I will talk to you soon. Farley out.